same elements are in this shot. This is soft in the background, maybe a little distracting. That yellow there, but not so much. This sort of stuff here is a little distracting and just pulls the eye a bit, but again, the eyes are sharp, the element it's on is sharp, the detail's obvious, so this is actually a pretty good image as well. I mean, there's been 3 great wildlife type images in a row.
Plunge pool.
This is well composed. The line pulls you in, strong inert element here, taking you into the convergence of the water coming into the pool. Space up here just a bit distracting, but otherwise overall a pretty strong image, and the exposure is good. And again, the determination made, do you want this looking soft or do you want it sharp? And they made the decision to make it soft. It is, and that's good with water, flowing water.
Chilly November sunset on Lake Erie.
11. So very sharp, graphic, sort of foreground, shadowy, dark elements with a softer background here. This light is a bit blown out and somewhat distracting and doesn't add quite as much to this part of the image, which the colors, the dynamic range are all within in check. So just maybe a little distraction of this blown out side. And really the main elements here.
Wine pour in Napa Valley.
13. So obviously everybody knows what the central image is, pouring the wine, blurred in the front, blurred in the back, sharp, focused, shallow depth of field in the middle. The lines from the hands add a very nice element to sort of what's going on here. I mean, obviously someone's pouring wine, but you don't know that people are about to taste, but this tells you that too. It gives you the idea, but it doesn't overly sharpen and take away from the central aspect.
In the Night of Paris.
So this overall is an incredibly strong shot. People's big mistake, and it's not wrong, but a thing they don't often do is what this picture does, is you don't have to show the whole architectural element. You can show part of it, and it's just as beautiful or powerful. And this is what this person did. They didn't say, I got to take the whole Eiffel Tower. No, they did that. And these lines from the flare of the lights add drama, bring you into the image. It's balanced well. The blurriness of the clouds here, either done in post, but I suspect this was done with a longer exposure, are great. I'm just not convinced whether this adds or detracts to the image, these little specular kaleidoscope-like things. You could argue either way. That's maybe why I didn't make it a 15, but it's a great image.
Tracks to somewhere.
11. So good leading line takes you somewhere, which is how they said it. I don't know where, but just everything's a little hot. Doesn't quite have the moodiness. This is sort of more a technical shot. Maybe what would have worked is to have something here, maybe waited for the cloud to come here and added something that pulls you into it. That's probably the only compositional criticism I have. But it's actually done well in that the exposure is real sharp, probably at a high f-stop from front to back, so depth of field is good.
Having a serious conversation.
12, it's a nice shot, documentary, reportage, 3 kids, central figure, well balanced. The stories here, this is just a little distracting, although I do think the stone part is important in giving you a sense of place and context.
Attic light.
Uh, 13. This is well exposed, and what the person did here is they had a definite purpose and create a graphic feel to the image and made the conscious decision to underexpose the shadows here. So you create a negative space. Negative space is very powerful in an image, and as you can see, it balances well with this portion of the image. The proportions are sort of classic amount of negative to positive or dominant to non-dominant thing. So it's a nice graphic shot, well exposed with a conscious decision to make sure the highlights are exposed properly and not blown out, and realizing that this can create a powerful negative space.
A determined look.
That's a 15. that's you know, it'd be a 16 if he had a fish in his hand or was I don't know, whatever. But I mean, the subject is everything. I mean, there's no extra stuff, and that's fine. I mean, this is portraiture of a beautiful animal, and I'm not letting it. I mean, if this had been a stork, I'd have been just as thrilled with it. But I mean, this is sharp. Everything's powerful. The sense of movement creates to the power. This is placed well in the frame, even though it fills the frame, it's dominant. That creates the sense of power. And even though he fills the frame, he's moving. Everyone always criticizes, and I don't think this is wrong always, but you want things moving into the frame. This thing fills the frame, but you can tell he's coming into the frame. And the wing position creates a great sense of power. And the softness of the background only amplifies that effect.
London Eye.
13. This is well exposed. The subtleness of these lines leads you out to the subject. Again, the negative space. Someone was thinking, and they said, let's expose for the highlights and not blow them out. And this image is very cool, graphic, exposed well, good use of negative space. And the line is intriguing. Curves and S's are always nice in a composition because they're rarer to find.
The Wills.
Um, 12. This is a nice family shot. I'm going to be happy with it at a sitting. This doesn't create such a problem. It kind of brings you into the picture. A little more distracted by that, but they dominate the picture. You maybe could have had them dominate it a little more. That line's fine, but just try to tighten it up. But it's well exposed. It's sharp. Anyone would be happy who was paying for this. And a nice moment, obviously.
Engagement in the Wildflowers.
13. Very sharp, the subject's dominant. This creates a a softness and a happiness. Obviously, wildflowers are a happy subject usually, and but they're blurred, forcing you in on this. This darkness and space back here, a little distracting. That's probably the only reason the image scored a little less than perfect, and that's a little distracting, but very nice use of natural elements that are soft, not distracting, complementary, and force you in on that person. Oh yeah, that's a little bothersome too, but I'm not of the school to destroy things if they're there or not, but I'll leave that up to your ethics.
Perched at the nest.
13, very sharp, eyes are good, nice catch light, natural element here, obviously a little hot here, a little hot there, distracting, but the blurriness is good otherwise, so a nice wildlife shot.
Spanning time.
Uh, 12. So nice leading line, good color, replicated by these shadows, this light that's penetrating in a similar curvilinear fashion. Very busy, but I find it interesting and graphic. You could argue whether this adds anything to it or not. Maybe not, I don't know. It does pull you in a little, but pretty well exposed, except for it's a little hot in here. And maybe it wasn't here, but overall pretty nice exposure. Nice repetition that creates strength of the composition.
That's no contender.
12. And this is actually a very bold and tough shot. The snow can either add or detract. This gives us a context of winter that's more than just looking at a pile of snow here, so that probably adds this. This is cut off a little. This is a little close to front. You wonder, maybe this was really where the shot was. This is a nice line here too, so just a few distracting elements, but the use of snow and its effects certainly adds context and sense of place and time and weather.
Exit.
Right. Then go to
Judge.
image review, right?
Review, yep.
If you want to get that on combine levels. Right.
Right.
No combine levels.
Right. But you still got to go back to image review on the bottom.
Right. And then where?
Judge.
Judge images?
Oh,
No. Huh?
yeah, go ahead.
All right. 13 is Rich McBride, and next one is John
Jan.
Balsano, and the next one is, excuse me, Jeannie Stearns.
Question,
What? Go back?
on the third one with the window and so on, would you put a border around that?
I think it would have been stronger with a border, because it would have given you some idea of where the
Right now we're in.
shadow ended and because there it looks fine, but when you have it projected, then you have a lot of black around it. I think in the next newsletter I'll write about how to put a border around it, because I don't think people think about that. Putting a border so that your area where your dark part of your image and the dark part of the screen are merging together and you can't tell where one stops and the other starts. All right, 15 is Odie Schwartz. Even though he can't spell, he does with nice pictures. Maybe it is a wood duck, yes, who knows? New species, yeah. And that one is Chuck Garrett. Lots of 13s. Gerald Meredith.
Hey,
Rustin Steinmuller. And Jenny Zoo. And then Platinum. Platinum we have Tom
oh,
Whitman. You know he does, and he's doing really good this year.
Okay.
All right, lights, please.
Wait.
All right.